A warm and pleasant good morning to our respected ma'am, seniors and my dear friends. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the Library Forum of our NVKST College of Education and Dr. Sheila ma'am for giving me an opportunity to do the book review. Today, I am going to give the review of the book Karikal, which is written by Bama in the year 2000. And later in the same year, it was translated to English by Lakshmi Hornstone. So the book Karikal deals with the autobiography of the nun Bama. She wrote this book in the year 2000 and it was published, got the Best Fiction Award in 2001. So here she explains, first of all, we are looking about Bama. She was a nun and she was a famous Tamil Dalit writer. Her father's name was a military man and she had three siblings. One was elder brother and one younger sister. Then she went to she worked as a teacher for 3 years, and at the age of 26, she to work for the poor Dalit children. She transformed herself to a nun at the age of 26 after working as a teacher for 3 years. The book Karikal contains 9 chapters. The word Karu deals with the embryo or the seeds, and the word Karikal refers to the sharp-edged sword of the palmara leaf, which means it refers to the strugglings of every Dalit people they faced. So coming to back to the book, the first chapter she explains about the beauty of the village, the mountains, the valleys, and different communities of the people they live there, the upper caste people and the lower caste people. The caste include Naikar, the Chaliar, the Parayar, the Palayar, likewise the different caste of peoples live there, and they followed many spiritual beliefs. And one of the beliefs they said about the person, the Bodhan. So Bodhan, they used to call them as the Bodhan Mama. And he is a person who was not afraid of even the cobra snake. He always used to steal and run the daily life. Everyone was very much afraid of this person, Bondan. One day, this Bondan stole the gold from the Muniyappa Swami temple. So this Muniyappa Swami temple god got very much angry, and every night the god always used to roam around the village and kill the people who are being seen by his eyes. So the people saw like this that the Muniyappa Swami god was killing all the peoples, and they became very afraid to go out at the night also. So the people of that village requested the Bodhan that he should return the gold that was stolen to the temple back itself, so that the god will be calm and he won't be killing us. After a long struggle, Bodhan accepted that he can give the gold to the Muniyappa Swami temple itself. And after the gold was returned, the Muniyappa Swami was very much good and become to normal. So this was one of the superstitious beliefs they believed at that time. And one of the beliefs they believed that the Nallatangal. So they built a Nallatangal temple at the Madurai, and still it was located in the Mana Madurai. The story reveals that there once lived a brother and a sister. The brother name is Nallatambi and the sister name is Nallatambi. After some years, the sister got married and sent to the another village. After some years, due to terrible famine, there was no food to feed for the children of the Nallatangal. Nallatangal had 7 children. So in order to feed them, she asked her husband that let me go to my brother's home so I can feed my children very much. But first her husband refused her to go there. And later, to feed her children, her husband allowed her to go to her brother's house. While coming to the brother's house, the brother was not there, and brother had a wife. They had no children, so they led a wealthy life. The sister name, the brother's wife name was Muli Alangari. To see what she was not very much interested to feed the children of her brother's sister. So what she did was she always used to mistreat the children, gave beatings, used harsh words like this. So Nalatangal was very much sad because of the behavior of the Muliyangali. So she ended her life by suiciding. When her brother came to know about this, he got very much angry with the wife and killed Muliyangali and raised the temple for Nalatangal. And still the temple was there in Manamaduri. And it was removed for the symbol of love between the brother and sister. So these were the things that she explained in the chapter first. And coming back to the chapter 2, she explained about the untouchability. She was first time hearing of the word untouchability at that time when she was studying in the 3rd standard. When she was returning back from the school to home, in a small street, she saw that one of the old man, and he belongs to the Paraya caste. He was just folding the vada or bhaji something in a banana leaf and tying it with a long rope and handing it to the one of the person, and that person belongs to the Naikar caste. So seeing this, first she just laughed at her brother and say what this old man was doing. At that time, his brother explained that this is called untouchability, that the upper caste people won't be touching the lower caste people, and there is caste discrimination. At that first time, she came to know about the untouchability from her brother. And her brother always used to teach her a lot and gave her a lot of books to read, because she was a very good learner and writer by that time itself. Then after that, she came to see that one day when a coconut fall from the coconut tree, the Chalian people, that is their school was located in the Chalian caste side. So headmaster of that school said that the coconut will be stolen by the Paraya caste people, because they are very lower caste and very much ill-treated at that time. So by hearing it, she thought that, oh, we are like this ill-treated by the upper caste people. And she came to realize that even more at that time. So these are the things that she explained in the chapter 2nd. And coming to chapter 3, she explained that they always had a great problem with the Chalian caste and the Paraya caste. Because the Charya school backside there was a cemetery, and that cemetery belongs to the Paraya caste. And the Charya caste people always wanted that cemetery to make it as a school playground. So they had a huge fight in between. One day the fight rose very high, and they informed this to the police station also. Even the police was not just satisfied with the lower caste people, and they all supported the upper caste people because of their wealthy needs. Then the fight very much gone very wrong, and some of the men were hidden in the church, and the priest also not supported them, and they informed to the police and catch all the men in the church also. And some of the men they hide in the forest also. And one of the boy child who was hidden inside the house of Bama was later found by and caught by the police, and the next day the boy died, and the boy's father was hidden in the forest, and to bring back the father to see the son for the last time, the Bama's grandmother just said a small trick that two of the women just go to the forest and with one extra sari and distinguish the boy's father as a lady and bring back him here to see the son for the last time. So like this, they struggled a lot during this fight. And also, after a long time, the judgment came to their favor that they can use that place for the cemetery, and the playground was not given for the child. So they was overjoyed at that time. Then coming to chapter 4, she explained about how they worked hard till the dawn and dusk. They were giving a minimum salary about 5 rupees per day while working for the Nayak caste peoples. And coming back to the chapter 5, she explained about the games they played, how her childhood was, and how they all played together and they enjoyed her life. And boys at the age of 10 to 12, they will be playing like the small kids, and after that they will be going for work like her father, and the girls will be doing at the same time the household works what their mothers are doing. So like this, they lead a happy life even they are ill-treated by the upper caste peoples. Then coming back to the chapter 6, she just explained about the bhakti she had in the church, that the devotions they are doing in the church, and every year in the month of May for 10 days they will be celebrating the church festival, and at that time really the Parayar will be very much enjoyable in that church festival, and the Nayakas will be very rude to them that the church festival would not be done like this manner, they should not cut animals, they should not kill. But what the upper castes are doing, they are ill-treating the lower caste people. But even though the lower caste peoples are very much happy, they enjoy their life like this. Then one of the church they arrived there, they had a small story. One time when an English priest was traveling in a bullock cart, he was just got a devotion with the God, that God appeared before the priest and said that he should rise a church there, and the church was located in the Chinnamalai place, and still that church was there and they are worshipping that church. And she always used to learn a lot, right? So she used to learn the prayers very well. And one day she was just praised for saying the prayer correctly by the priest, and the priest hugged her and kissed her and gave her a 5 rupee piece. So she was very much eager to learn new things day by day, and she always must be a topper in the school life. And when the Dalits are giving a small scholarship, she was not enough to get that scholarship because they are giving the scholarship only for the lower caste people. But she was always used to study well, and she wanted to get the scholarship for her learning and not for the lower caste scheduled scholarship. She was not interested in buying that scholarship. And while grown up, she was at her age, when she was studying in 9th standard, she was sent to the convent, and there the convent she saw more of wealthy family children, and she was the only child from the Dalit family. So that every child used to ask the questions that how come you came here, who just arranged you to come and learn here. Like this, every children used to criticize her, and even teachers used to ill-treat her in a bad manner. And coming back to chapter 7, she just described about the behavior of the nuns, how she was treated by the nuns in the convent, and being working as a teacher for 3 years in order to help the poor children to learn in a better manner. She just converted herself into a nun. Then the rest of the chapters deals with how she was renunciation, and how she quit her job, and how many times she got the transfer while doing the her convent practice jobs, and how many times she was practiced how she was ill-treated by the people of that locality, and how she was ill-treated by other Nayakar caste peoples of being a Dalit woman, and also she just wrote this book by the influence of a person, and she just got to the Jammu and Kashmir, and that was the last time she went to Jammu and Kashmir and ended her NAM field, and how she came back here, and how she started to write the book by the influence of which person she just wrote this book, and other all are explained in this book. And I request everyone to read this book. And while reading this book, we all will be feeling that how they suffered a lot, and we are also traveling with that track, and literally we sometimes will be crying by reading this book. That much emotional scenes are written in this book by Bama. And also the pen name of Bama is Fatima Mary Fatima Rani. It was the pen name given for Bama. I request everyone to read this book, and I took this book from rack 34A5. So I request everyone to read this book.